Hey, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are around the world. Fired up and grateful for another day to be able to share with you. Guys, I want to read this book to you, The Dream Giver, and if you've never read it, I want to go through it with you. And at the end of each chapter, I like to discuss a few things, and I'd like to get your thoughts, right? Because this book was written for everyone, right? So the name of the book is The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson. Okay, so today we're going to go through it. This book has inspired my soul, and I wanted to share it with as many people because it's so powerful. This book is for anyone who has ever hoped or believed they could achieve something remarkable with their lives. Dave and Heather Hawk have been a vital part of this book. They committed their skills and encouragement and have been deep inspiration. Thank you, my good friends, for being champions of the Dream Giver. Most of all, I wish to acknowledge the Dream Giver himself, for without him, none of this would have had a compelling dream for the trades for our life. Chapter 1. The Parable of the Dream Giver. Ordinarily embraced his big dream. Not long ago and not far away, a nobody named Ordinary lived in the land of familiar. Every day was pretty much the same for Ordinary. In the morning he got up and he went to his usual job. After work he ate the same dinner he ate the evening before. Then he sat in his recliner and watched the box and memorized most nobodies on most nights. Sometimes best friend came over and joined Ordinary. Ordinary was in the front of the box. Sometimes Ordinary went to his parents and they watched it together. But for the most part, not much happened in familiar that didn't happen before. Ordinary thought he was content. He found the routine reliable. He blended in with the crowd, and most he wanted only what he had until the day Ordinary noticed the small nagging thought. Feeling like somebody, he was missing what was missing from his life. Ordinary, maybe feeling, was that he was missing from something big. He wasn't sure. The little feeling grew, and even though nobody in familiar didn't generally expect the unexpected, Ordinary began to wish for it. Time passed. Then one morning, Ordinarily woke up with the words echoing in his mind. What are you missing that you already have? Could it be? Ordinarily looked and looked, and then he discovered that in the small corner of his heart laid a big dream. The big dream told him that he, a nobody, was made to be somebody and was destined to do great things. Jumping out of bed, Ordinary discovered something else. A long white feather still on his window. Where did it come from? What did it mean? With a jolt of excitement, Ordinary decided he had to visit the big dream giver. Now, Ordinary heard rumors of various nobodies in familiar waking up to a big dream. He had never imagined before that this could happen to him. He rushed and got dressed, his big dream beating brightly on his chest. He couldn't wait to get to his usual job to tell best friend the news. But on his way to work, Ordinary realized he had a problem. He had a big dream. And it was too big for nobody like Ordinary. He would be embarrassed to tell anybody. Even his best friend would probably laugh. Still, Ordinarily was too excited to keep his dream to himself And as soon as he saw best friend, he blurted it out the news. The dream giver gave me a big dream. I was made to be somebody and destined to achieve great things. Best friend looked surprised, and he didn't laugh. That very big, he said. But if I were you, I wouldn't tell anybody about that dream of yours too much. Nobody's around here might take you for a fool. Ordinary didn't want to look like a fool, so he went and he kept his big dream to himself. Day after day, Ordinary showed up to his usual job. But while he worked, he thought about his dream. He thought about how wonderful it would be to do what he loved to do instead of just dreaming about it. Ordinary longed for the big dream. Grew and finally realized he'd never be happy unless he pursued it. Why didn't the dream giver make it possible? The dream giver didn't. How could Ordinary even leave Familiar? He had payments. He had expenses. He had regular duties. And nobody could count on him for a lot of things. Ordinary felt completely stuck. Time passed and nothing changed. When Ordinary got home, he went straight up, right, straight to the window, and he picked up the long white feather. He turned it over carefully in his hands. He thought about the father and the dream that he left behind. The dream giver had surprising ideas. Could it be that maybe the dream giver gave nobody a dream, but only some embraced their dreams, and even few pursued them? The more he thought about it, the more he thought it had to be true. He thought about it, and the more he thought about it, he couldn't get it off his mind. One thing Ordinary did is he knew for sure. He didn't want to repeat his father's mistakes. He couldn't waste another day waiting for his dream to seem possible. He would find a way to pursue it. Time passed. Ordinarily worked hard, and his plans began to his big dream. He made hard choices. He made difficult changes. He even made big sacrifices. Finally, one morning, he was ready. Ordinarily ran all the way to his usual job, his dream pounding hard in his chest. And as soon as he saw best friend, Ordinary blurted out the news. The big dream I told you about, I've decided to pursue it. Best friend looked concerned. You know as well as I do, nobody's would pursue their dream and leave Familiar, he said. Then he set off like a fool in the unknown, in search of a place where, yes, I know, Ordinarily broke in, and I couldn't wait to get started. But ordinarily, that journey is just about sensible or safe. Why leave Familiar? I'm so comfortable here. And besides that, you've always lived here. I've always thought about it too, said Ordinary. But my big dream is too important and too wonderful to miss. Best friend shook his head. You're going to become a dreamer, he said. Best friend shook his head. I am a dreamer, answered Ordinary. Today, I'm going to tell my boss I'm leaving the usual job, and tomorrow I'll begin my journey. Hey, best friend, added Ordinarily eagerly. Have you ever reclined? Can have my recliner and my box. And with that, Ordinarily walked away, humming a tune you've never heard before. The night before he left Vermilion, Ordinary decided to use a long white feather to help him remember the truth. He pulled out a notebook and began writing his big dream in the journal. On the cover, then he dipped the quill in permanent ink and wrote on his first page. The dream giver gave me a big dream. Before I was even born, and I just finally woke up to it. My dream is what I do best and what I most love to do. How could I have missed it for so long? I had to sacrifice and make big changes to pursue my dreams, but it was well worth it. It made me sad to think that so many nobodies are missing something big. So guys, after we just read that first chapter, I want you to think about, what we just talked about. And it's so true that before each and every one of us were born, the universe knew every single hair on our head. He knew everything about us and what we would become. We were all given gifts, and it's up to you to decide if you want to use that gift, just like it was up to me. Yes, was I afraid? Absolutely. Did people laugh? Absolutely. Right? But you know what? I pursued what I wanted, what I felt in my heart, what I needed, right? For me. Because, I know that I've been given this gift, and it's not just for me. It's for me to share it with the world. And this book, guys, is going to unlock it for you like it unlocked it for me. So please, below this video, leave your comments. Tell me your thoughts. And I appreciate you as always. Do something good for somebody else in the space of knowing they can't repay you. Come back tomorrow as we continue The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson.